Hydrogen laughter echoed across the galactic conference chamber as the militaristic alien species openly mocked humanity's starship technology, unaware of the experimental human stealth warship waiting silently in orbit above to make them eat their words. Captain Gabriel Bell grimaced as he watched the high-ranking Hirigen official Warlord Yaksa spew insults towards Earth and boast of the Hirigen fleet's unmatched might. "You humans are weak," Yaksa sneered, pounding his fist on the table. "Your primitive ships are made of scrap metal. The Hirigen armada could raze your planet to ashes." "I wouldn't be so sure," Gabriel retorted. "If you're really that confident, I propose a war game to settle this. My ship, the UES Phantom, against your flagship. You would lose badly and become a slave on board my ship, the Warbringer. What are your terms?" Gabriel smirked. "If I win, the Hirigen must publicly admit humanity's power and cease all expansion towards our star systems." Gabriel knew everything rode on this battle. The Phantom was Earth's most advanced stealth warship, equipped with cloaking tech beyond anything the galaxy had seen. But the Hirigen were born for war, and losing meant his crew would become their prisoners, or worse. As the challenge was set, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. As the simulated battle began, the Hirigen changed the game. The battleground was now a dense asteroid field, the Warbringer and its fleet nimbly weaving through the rocky labyrinth. The Phantom's shields flared as precision strikes slammed into her hull, the Hirigen ships vanishing back into the asteroids before Gabriel's crew could retaliate. "Captain, their sensors are better than ours," the tactical officer reported. "They can track us through the interference, but we can't get a lock on them." The ship rocked as another volley hit home. Warning lights flashed on the damage control console. Gabriel gripped the armrests of his chair. The Phantom was tough, but she couldn't take this kind of punishment for long. He had to change the rules, just like the Hirigen had. "Helm, take us into the asteroid field. Use the ship's agility to navigate through the rocks." "Sir?" The helmsman looked back at him, eyes wide. "You heard me? The Hirigen want to use the terrain against us. Two can play at that game." The Phantom dove into the treacherous asteroid field, her sleek form slipping between the tumbling rocks. The Hirigen ships followed, their bulkier frames struggling to match the human ship's agility. On the Warbringer's bridge, Yaksa grinned, baring sharp teeth. The prey flees into the rocks, but it cannot escape the hunter. Pursue and destroy. But as the Warbringer closed in for the kill, the Phantom vanished. One moment she was there, the next she was gone, as if she had never existed. "What trickery is this?" Yaksa snarled, slamming a fist on his console. "Find that ship, it cannot hide forever." But the Phantom was well hidden, nestled in the heart of a hollow asteroid. In the dim light of the bridge, Gabriel turned to his crew. "Damage report." "Shields are down to 20%, and we've got hull breaches on decks 4 and 5. Engineering is working on repairs, but it's going to take time." Gabriel nodded. Time was a luxury they didn't have, but they had to make the most of this brief respite. "Analyze the Hirigen's attack patterns, find the weaknesses in their formations. When we strike hard and fast." Minutes ticked by as the crew worked, the tension on the bridge thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally, the tactical officer looked up from his console. "I've got it, Captain. Their formations leave their sensor arrays and weapons vulnerable. If we hit those, we can cripple their fleet." Gabriel grinned. "Then that's what we'll do. Helm, prepare to execute attack pattern Delta 5 on my mark." The Phantom burst from the asteroid, weapons blazing. The Hirigen fleet, caught completely off guard, scrambled to mount a defense, but it was too late. The human ship danced through their formations, picking off sensor arrays and weapon systems with surgical precision. On the Warbringer's bridge, Yaksa roared in fury. "Impossible! Engage that ship! I want it destroyed!" The Warbringer surged forward, its weapons spitting fire. The Phantom rolled and twisted, evading the onslaught by a hair's breadth. The two ships circled each other, locked in a deadly dance, neither willing to yield. The Phantom and the Warbringer spiraled through the asteroid field, their hulls nearly scraping as they exchanged blistering volleys of fire. The Phantom was more maneuverable, but Gabriel saw that the Hyrogen ship's armor was shrugging off their attacks. "Captain, our weapons are barely scratching them," the tactical officer shouted over the din of battle. Gabriel slammed his fist on the armrest. They couldn't win a slugging match. "Analyze their shielding technology. Find me a weakness." The bridge crew worked furiously, the Phantom's AI systems probing the Warbringer for vulnerabilities. Data streamed across the screens, until finally. Their shield harmonics have a fluctuating frequency. If we can match it, we might be able to punch through. Gabriel grinned. "Then that's what we'll do. Load the nanobot swarm into the torpedo tubes." The Phantom shuddered as a cloud of microscopic robots burst from its hull, latching onto the Warbringer like a swarm of metallic locusts. The Hyrogen ship's shields flickered and wavered as the nanobots disrupted their coherence. On the Warbringer's bridge, warning klaxons blared. Yaxa snarled as he saw his ship's defenses failing. "Withdraw! Regroup with the fleet!" The Warbringer peeled away, trying to shake off the nanobots, but the Phantom pursued, vanishing from sensors as it engaged its cloaking device. Gabriel watched the Hyrogen ship on the view screen, waiting for his moment to strike. "Shields are down, Captain," the tactical officer reported. "All weapons, fire." The Phantom decloaked directly behind the Warbringer, its phasers and torpedoes ripping into the Hyrogen ship's exposed hull. EMP bursts fried the Warbringer's systems, leaving it dead in space. Yaxa pounded his console in fury. They had been outplayed, outfought by a lesser species, but he would not give them the satisfaction of victory. "Initiate self-destruct! We will take them with us!" Gabriel watched the Warbringer's engines start to overload, the telltale sign of a ship about to explode. "Disengage! Get us clear now!" The Phantom's engines flared as it leaped away, the space behind it erupting into a miniature supernova as the Warbringer detonated. The blast caught several other Hyrogen ships, consuming them in a chain reaction of destruction. Gabriel watched the fireballs dissipate, leaving only scattered debris and demoralized survivors. The Hyrogen fleet was in disarray, ships fleeing in all directions. He turned to his crew, triumph etched on his features. As the Hyrogen survivors fled into the asteroid field, Gabriel allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. They had won the day, but the war was far from over. "All ships form up on the Phantom," he ordered. "We're going hunting." The human fleet, a dozen strong, fell into formation behind the Phantom as it dove into the asteroid field, its advanced sensors probing for any sign of the enemy. The asteroids loomed around them, jagged and menacing, but Gabriel's crew navigated the hazards with practiced ease. Suddenly the tactical console lit up with warnings. "Captain, we've got incoming, graviton pulses and some kind of dark matter weapon." Gabriel gripped the armrests as the ship shuddered under the impact. The Hyrogen, it seemed, still had some fight left in them. "Evasive maneuvers. Return fire with everything we've got." The human ships scattered, weaving through the asteroids as they exchanged fire with the Hyrogen vessels. The Phantom's shields flared as a graviton pulse slammed into them, the force of the impact throwing crew members from their seats. "Shields down to 40%, the tactical officer shouted. Gabriel gritted his teeth. They couldn't take much more of this, but he had a few tricks up his sleeve. "Engage the phase cloaking device. Let's disappear." The Phantom shimmered and vanished, the Hyrogen's weapons passing harmlessly through the space it had occupied a moment before. The other human ships followed suit, vanishing from sight and sensors. The Hyrogen, confused and enraged, fired blindly into the asteroids, their shots going wide. Gabriel watched the tactical display, waiting for his moment to strike. "Now, all ships decloak and fire at will." The human fleet materialized behind the Hyrogen ships, their weapons already charged and primed. A barrage of quantum torpedoes and phaser beams slammed into the enemy vessels, ripping through their shields and hulls. But just as victory seemed within reach, a new contact appeared on the sensors. A massive ship, dwarfing even the Phantom, emerged from the depths of the asteroid field. "What the hell is that?" Gabriel demanded. "It's a Hirogen dreadnought," the sensor officer replied, his voice trembling. "The Decimator." Gabriel felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories of the Decimator, a ship so powerful it could lay waste to entire fleets. And now it was here, bearing down on them like a great predator. On the Decimator's bridge, Thrax, Yaxa's second-in-command, bared his teeth in a vicious grin. "The humans think they have won. They are mistaken. Charge the Singularity cannon." The Decimator's weapons glowed with an eerie red light as they powered up, aimed directly at the human fleet. Gabriel knew they had only one chance. "All ships focus fire on the Decimator's weapon systems. We have to take them out before they can fire." The human fleet swarmed the dreadnought, phasers and torpedoes slamming into its shields. The Phantom darted in close, its advanced targeting systems seeking out weak points in the Decimator's defenses. But the dreadnought's armor held, absorbing the punishment. Thrax laughed as he watched the human ships buzz around his vessel like gnats. "Foolish creatures! You cannot stop the Decimator. Prepare to ram the Phantom." The dreadnought surged forward, its immense bulk filling the view screen. Gabriel's eyes widened as he realized what was about to happen. "Hard to starboard now." The helmsman yanked the controls, sending the Phantom into a dizzying spin. The ship groaned under the strain, its inertial dampeners struggling to compensate. The Decimator shot past, missing the Phantom by mere meters. But Thrax had miscalculated. The dreadnought's momentum carried it straight into the path of a massive asteroid. The impact was titanic. The asteroid shattered, sending fragments spinning off into space. The Decimator, its shields already weakened by the humans' assault, crumpled under the force of the collision. Explosions rippled across its hull as critical systems failed. Gabriel watched in amazement as the mighty dreadnought listed, fires raging across its decks. They had done it. They had crippled the Decimator. But the battle wasn't over yet. Thrax, enraged and desperate, ordered his crew to unleash everything they had. The Decimator listed, fires raging across its decks as the human fleet unleashed a relentless barrage. Thrax's eyes widened as he saw the extent of the damage. Critical systems blinked red on his console, one after another. "Thrax, the shields are down, hull breaches on multiple decks," a Hirogen officer shouted over the blaring alarms. "Reroute all power to weapons," Thrax snarled. "We will not be defeated by these primates." But even as he spoke, he knew it was futile. The human ships swarmed the Decimator like wolves tearing at a wounded bear. The Phantom, battered but unbroken, led the charge, its phasers cutting deep into the dreadnought's armor. On the Phantom's bridge, Gabriel gripped his chair as the ship shuddered under the strain of its own weapons fire. "Keep firing. We've almost got them." The tactical officer nodded, his hands flying over his console. "Aye, Captain, targeting their main reactor." A volley of quantum torpedoes burst from the Phantom's launch tubes, spiraling towards the Decimator's heart. They punched through the weakened hull, detonating deep within the ship. The Decimator convulsed as secondary explosions rippled through its structure. On the bridge, Thrax roared in fury as his consoles sparked and died. "Initiate self-destruct," he bellowed. "We will take them with us." Gabriel's eyes widened as he saw the energy readings from the Decimator spike. "They're going to blow. All ships jump now." But as he turned to his helmsman, the young officer shook his head. "Sir, the jump drive is offline. We took a hit during that last exchange." Gabriel's heart sank. They couldn't escape the blast, not all of them. He turned to his crew, his eyes hard. "Evacuate. Get to the escape pods." "Sir?" His first officer questioned, her voice uncertain. "That's an order. I'll stay with the skeleton crew, buy you some time." There was a moment of hesitation, then a chorus of "Aye, Captain," as the crew rushed to obey. Gabriel watched them go, pride and sorrow warring in his heart. He turned to the few who remained, volunteers all. "Let's get this done." The Phantom, engines straining, maneuvered between the Decimator and the fleeing human ships. Its hull groaned as it took the brunt of the dreadnought's fire, shielding its comrades. In the decimator's core, the self-destruct countdown ticked inexorably towards 0. Thrax watched it, a bitter smile on his face. We die, but we take our prey with us. The timer hit 0, and the decimator vanished in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave slammed into the Phantom, throwing Gabriel from his chair. He felt the ship shudder around him, felt the heat of fires breaking out across the decks. And then there was nothing but light and silence. In the void left by the decimator's destruction, the human fleet regrouped. Ships limped away from the blast site, some barely holding together. On the bridge of the UES Dauntless, Commander Alara Khitan, Gabriel's second-in-command, stared at the viewscreen, her heart in her throat. "Where's the Phantom? Scan for life signs." But the scans came back negative. Where the Phantom had been, there was only drifting debris and the fading afterglow of the explosion. Alara closed her eyes, grief etched on her features. "Stand down from Red Alert. Inform Earth Command. The Phantom is lost." As the news spread through the fleet, a hush fell over the ships. They had won, but the cost had been high. The Phantom, the ship that had led them to victory, was gone, its captain and crew with it. In the days that followed, the story of Gabriel Bell and the Phantom's sacrifice spread like wildfire through the human colonies. They were hailed as heroes, their names etched into history. The Hirogen, their greatest weapon destroyed and their fleet in tatters, retreated into the depths of space. They had learned a bitter lesson. Humanity was not prey, but a force to be reckoned with. But for those who had known Gabriel, who had served with him, the victory was bittersweet. They had lost not just a captain, but a friend, a leader, a guiding light. As the fleet limped home, they carried with them the memory of the Phantom and her crew. Their sacrifice would never be forgotten, their bravery forever a shining beacon in humanity's darkest hour. The war was over, but the struggle continued. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, but it had paid a heavy price. And as the ships docked at Earth's orbital stations, as the crews disembarked to the cheers of a grateful populace, they knew that the fight was far from over. There would be other battles, other wars, but they would face them as Gabriel had taught them, with courage, with determination, and with the knowledge that no matter the odds, humanity would never give up. The legacy of the Phantom, of Gabriel Bell and his crew, would live on, a reminder of the cost of victory and of the indomitable human spirit that had earned it. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.